Hey guys, this is David here. Wanted to do something a little different today. I know I've been posting a lot of random stuff recently, some vlogs and some music and stuff like that, but I wanted to do a quick video on something that I've been getting really involved with over the past, I would say 9 months, something like that. And that is vaping. I smoked cigarettes from, I can't remember when I started. I smoked cigarettes for a long time, and over the years, it got really old. Like I started to notice, obviously the negative effects of smoking, loss of breath, stamina. A lot of people that I was either in a relationship with or just friends with noticed, the odor, like the smell. You can't really get it off your fingers or your hands or your clothes. If you smoke in your apartment, then your apartment stinks, and just a bunch of negative stuff going on as far as cigarettes is concerned. So sometime last year, I want to say late August, early September of last year, a friend of mine turned me on to vaping. And I've been vaping ever since and been really excited about it and really satisfied by just a much safer alternative to smoking cigarettes. So basically what I wanted to do today is try and do a semi-informative type video about vaping. So what I have here today are a couple of mods, a couple of devices, a couple simple things, some stuff that's a little more complicated that I'll try and explain as best I can. So the very first thing that I ever got is what's called an Ego battery. This right here is an Ego C twist battery. So it has this little knob here on the bottom that you can twist back and forth, right? So what this does is that it alters your voltage output. And I know that I might be talking over some people's heads if you're completely new to this, but all this means is how much power is actually coming from this battery and going into your chosen atomizer, the thing that holds your liquid. So this battery itself, you can change from 3.2 volts all the way up to 4.8 volts. And what you want to set that at is going to depend on what you put on top of it. So you have to know a little bit about what's called Ohm's law to really start to fully understand what all this is going to mean. It deals with resistance, meaning ohms, your power output, which is volts, all of that type of stuff. So your resistance is going to come from the atomizer, the thing that you put on top of your battery. So at this point, I think this is a 2.6 ohm atomizer, which is about standard resistance. So what I would want to set this at is probably somewhere in the range of 4.4 volts. I could even rock it at 4.8 volts and it would perform pretty well. So let me just show you at 3.2 volts the type of performance you're going to get out of this. It's okay. It's actually probably pretty similar to the performance you're going to get out of, say, something like a blue cig, like a blue e-cig or the Enjoy King, the little disposable cigarette look-alike batteries that you'll get from a gas station. It's actually really disappointing. You don't get very much flavor. There's very little vapor that you can produce with it. Which is why it's good to have a battery like this, an Ego C twist battery if you're a beginner. This is something that I would recommend to people who are just starting out, and it is something that I have turned people on to. So, like I said, you would want to rock this You could even rock it all the way at 4.8 volts. So let me just show you what it's like at that voltage. Pretty substantial amount of vapor. So it performs pretty well. So what you're going to do with an atomizer, and this goes back to the beginning of vaping and what we used to use when there wasn't much else out on the market. There was cartridges that you would stick inside of this that had some sort of fill material that would touch. I don't know if I can get you guys to see that. See, there's a little bridge in there that's got a wick and a coil underneath it. So the cartridge would go in there and touch that little bridge part and wick down into there. It actually didn't perform really well at all, so that's why we moved on from that. So what you want to do with your atomizer is take your bottle of e-liquid. This is actually Nightlight Vapor's Cold Creek Menthol. And you just drip it a couple times, 3 or 4 times on your atomizer. Put your drip tip on. There's lots of drip tips on the market right now. This is a Ming drip tip from Cherry Vapes, cherryvape.com. And you just vape it. You'll be able to tell when you want to drip more on there just by the amount of flavor that you're getting out of it, and you can tell just by pulling on it without actually activating the battery. You can tell if there's any liquid in it. Right, so that's the Ego C twist battery and just an atomizer. What I have here is a little different. This is a mechanical mod. So essentially, the difference between this is a rechargeable battery in and of itself. This is the entire device itself without the atomizer, just this part. So there's a little charger that you screw onto the top, you plug that into the wall or into any USB device, and that'll charge it. Mechanical mods, and I'm sorry the threads are a little noisy right now. The mechanical mods use rechargeable batteries. This is an E-Fest. I don't know if I can. Oh god, I don't know if I can get you guys to see this. It might actually be backwards on the video. This is an E-Fest IMR 18650 rechargeable lithium magnesium battery. So these batteries operate at 3.7 volts. And the thing about your mechanical mods is that you're restricted to the voltage output of the battery itself, and that's it. So when your battery starts to drain, the voltage output obviously is not going to be the same as what it was. Sorry, those threads are really gross. So on a fully charged battery, you could probably actually get somewhere around 4 volts, 4.1 volts, but as you start to use it, obviously the battery capacity, like the voltage output, is going to go down. So again, let me just try without moving on to that. This right here is another atomizer. It's a 306 style atomizer. This actually comes from iconvape.com, so they call this an IO6. See that little part on top? That's what I was telling you about, the bridge. This is the 306 style, so it's exposed right here, and you have this little drip tip that you get with it. Make sure there's liquid in there. And this is a low resistance atomizer. I think right now it's around 1.5 ohms. So this is the type of thing that you could rock on a mechanical mod, something that is just using your rechargeable battery. If I were to put this atomizer on here at 2.6 ohms, again, it would be like how I first showed you. It would be really disappointing. There wouldn't be much vapor or flavor. So it's pretty similar to what the Ego C twist battery was outputting at its higher voltage rating. And this particular mechanical mod has your button, your activation button, and your fire button on the side. And it's just a mechanical mod, meaning that there's no circuitry in here. It's just your battery and this button that makes contact and completes the circuit, and the current goes to your atomizer and fires a coil, and bam, you got vapor. Okay, one thing else I wanted to tell you about this particular mechanical mod is that it is a telescoping mod. See, I had an 18650 battery, one of the larger standard size batteries that will fit in there, but on a telescoping mod, obviously you can telescope it down. So now it's really short. And then what you can do, this off camera. So what you can do is you can use, this is an AWIMR 18350 battery. This is one of the smaller batteries that you can get. Still operates at 3.7 volts. It has a shorter mAh rating. It's 700 mAh, which is milliamp hours. Essentially what that means is how long the battery life is going to be. This is going to be a shorter battery life than, say, the 18650 battery. So you just drop your battery in there, screw your top cap back on, and then put something like a low resistance atomizer back on there. Smaller form factor, fits easier in your pocket. It's going to vape the same if the battery's charged fully as the 18650 battery. Okay, this is the Vamo. This is a Chinese mod, or a Chinese APV, an advanced personal vaporizer. And it's similar to a telescoping mod. It's not telescoping, but you have an extra battery extension tube. So you screw that on there, and I can put this same 18650 battery back in there. So this works with an 18650 battery, and it works with an 18350 battery. Let's see here. So the Vamo is a variable voltage. 5 clicks turns it on. It's a variable voltage and a variable wattage device. So when you're dealing with voltage, like I said with the Ego C Twist battery, it's the output, the voltage output. So this particular device, which is kind of similar to other devices, the other APVs that are on the market right now, you can go, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can get that on camera. So right now it's in wattage setting. So let's see if I can get this back to voltage. Alright, so now it's at 3 volts. This particular mod, or this particular APV, will go from 3 volts in 0.1 increments all the way up to 6 volts. And then you push it again and it round robins all the way back to 3 volts. In the same way, if you go down, it'll round robin back to 6 volts. Okay, so if you hold these two buttons down, sometime today, hopefully. Alright, so now it's in wattage mode. So now you can go from 3 watts in 0.5 watt increments all the way up to 15 watts, and then you hit it again and it round robins back to 3 watts. In the same way, you can round robin back to 15 watts. So the difference between your wattage setting and your voltage setting, say you just pick up any random atomizer or a tank and you screw it onto your device. If you're using voltage, you have to manually switch back and forth between what voltage setting you want, depending on the ohm rating of your atomizer or tank. With wattage, if you set it to 10 watts, watts meaning the power output, the overall power output. Say I was using, let's see, where did it go? The IO6, which is a 1.5 ohm atomizer. If I were to put this on here at 10 watts, it would automatically adjust the output to constantly output 10 watts. So I don't have to think. If I know that I like, say, 10 watts, if I like that power output, I can put any atomizer on here and it's going to adjust the voltage or the power output so that it's always outputting 10 watts. So I don't have to think about it. I can just put stuff on there, don't worry about it, just fire it and go. So it's kind of easier that way. So what I have here is an iClear 30. It comes from Inokin. So this is a tank system. It's a CE style. I know that might be a little confusing, but it just has these little wicks, these little silica wicks in there. And you fill this tank up with your liquid, and it wicks up all the way up into the coil, and you're good to go. So let's see. This is probably a 2.2 ohm atomizer, so let's rock it at 12 watts. It's got a lot of power. Right now I got some Vapor Aid Frosty Watermelon e-liquid in here. This comes from a shop here in Austin called Royal Vapors. It's actually like just a novelty shop. I thought it was an e-cig shop, but it's actually not. And I was pretty disappointed with that shop just because they sell cigarettes. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about too. Maybe another video, but if you're going to sell vaporizers, you're going to sell e-liquid, stuff like that, just sell that stuff. Don't have your entire back wall full of cigarettes, because most people that are using these devices are trying to get off cigarettes, so it's kind of counterintuitive, and I think it does a disservice to the vaping community to have it in the same place, but I'll get into that some other time. What I have here is something that I've been really happy with. This is called the Kanger Pro Tank. When you buy it, it comes in this little jewel case. It's pretty nice packaging. I was pretty impressed by the whole thing. So what this is, different from the iClear, the coils are on the top. So you're fighting gravity. These wicks have to wick all the way up into the coil. It has to wick up, right? So depending on your device and depending on your tank, the style tank, it could work well, it could not work very well at all. The difference between that and the Pro Tank is the fact that the coils on the Pro Tank are on the bottom. So your liquid is always feeding your coils. And when you buy this kit, it comes with 2 atomizer heads. It comes with a little beauty ring. Get this on camera. Comes with a little ring. These things are kind of designed to work with the Ego battery. So let me show you that real quick. And this screws on to the outer threads on your Ego battery. Kind of makes it more of like a complete device, you know what I'm saying? So what you got to do is it comes with the base, right? It comes with your atomizer head. So you screw that into the base, and then this screws on the bottom of your tank. So that way you have a complete tank right now. So what you want to do is, see, I have a little syringe here for my e-liquid. So you just take your syringe or your bottle or whatever, and you fill your tank, right? You turn it upside down, you fill it like that. Right now I'm vaping on Heather's Heavenly Vapes, which is probably one of my favorite e-liquid companies right now. Their lemonade flavor, which is actually really good. So you do that, you gotta do it upside down. So you put the e-liquid in there, you screw your bottom cap on. You can put this on your Ego battery. You see, that's pretty tight, right? You know, it's like a complete device. And you just vape it. You know, plenty of vapor, plenty of flavor. This is a 2.6 Actually, no, I think it's a 2.8 ohm atomizer. So at 4.8 volts, it's okay. What would be better, I'm actually going to switch batteries because I kind of like the Vamo in the 18350 mode. Just because it's shorter, it's easier to deal with. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of this off camera. Bam. It's much shorter. 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. That way you can put it in your pocket and it won't fire. So now we're at 12 watts. And because we're at 12 watts, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think about the volts. I can just start vaping it. Performs really, really, really well. The Vamo, when it came out, was a big deal because a lot of the APVs that were on the market at the time were running close to $100. And the Vamo can do everything that most of these other variable wattage, variable voltage devices can do. It also has multiple battery configurations, but it ran at $40. So it was much cheaper, much more accessible to pretty much anybody who was trying to get into the vaping world. The very first, like I said, the very first device I ever had was an Ego battery, just a regular Ego battery, not the Twist. And then I got a Z-Max. The Z-Max is essentially the same thing as this. You can only use one battery configuration. It was the 18650 battery, so it was longer. I sold that, and I got a Vamo, and it was a whole lot easier to use. You know, you don't have to search through a menu, stupid menu. You just got your up and down buttons and your fire button. The Vamo will also, if you hold the down button, it will tell you your battery life left, which right now is a freshly charged battery, so I got 4.1 volts left on the battery. And if you hold down the up button, it'll tell you your ohms, your ohm rating on your atomizer. So right now it's 2.6 ohms, which is really simple. It's just you hold one button and you got your information. Something with this, like the Z-Max, or at least the version 1 Z-Max, you had to search through a menu, and it didn't take a long time, but it was a little annoying. So the Vamo was pretty much a game changer when it came out, and I've been happy with it. It's solid brass. The whole thing is solid brass. It's been coated with some sort of this is the gunmetal finish, and it so it's got good conductivity. It was just a really good device when it came out. I know there's many, many more devices now that are out, more APVs that are similar to this. Higher price range, but different form factor, different style. But essentially they do all the same thing. I think that's kind of all that I wanted to go over. I mean, there's all different kinds of atomizers, dripping atomizers. You know, this is a Canon V2 from Vape. It's a little bigger. This is a EVOD bottom coil changeable tank, which is from Kanger. It's from the same company that makes the Pro Tank. Essentially it's the same thing. These are kind of designed, not specifically, but they work really well with the Ego battery. You just screw it on like that. You know, it's got a cool form factor. You know, it's just real simple. I know a lot of people using this combination, the EVOD and the Ego battery, just because they work really well together. Let's see here. You know, a lot of companies have these little rings, you know, you can screw on here that kind of cover up the Ego threads, the outer threads on the device, that make it more, you know, obviously these colors are different, but, you know, you can make it more customizable, make it look pretty or whatever. But essentially, my all-day vape has pretty much been the Pro Tank and the Ego Twist battery or the Vamo. Just because they perform really well, they're really reliable. There's not a whole lot going on. You don't have to fiddle with it very much. You just fill it up and go. Alright, So that's what I have. I know this video is kind of long. I'm going to try and edit it down. But that's what I wanted to go over with you guys. There's a couple other things I want to talk about vaping, but I might do that in another video just because this is running a little long. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today, guys. So thanks for watching. Go check out my other videos. And yeah, peace.